17 here, and the Studio Series 86 line is a huge hit for me, and that's saying something because I am a pretty big Bayverse fan. I really like the first 3 Bayverse movies, and I really like the Studio Series Bayverse figures. I have a good collection of them, and most of them I really like. So the fact that I really have nearly 0 complaints with the Studio Series 86 line is pretty huge in my opinion. I do still think that maybe it would have been better to release the Studio Series 86 as its separate line, and maybe not group it together with the Studio Series figures, because I just feel like it makes more sense to keep the Studio Series to be the Bumblebee movie and the Bayverse movies. I just think that makes a little more sense, but it's what they ended up doing, and at least we got these figures. And in today's video, I am going to rank every single one of the Studio Series 86 figures from Wave 1, obviously because Wave 1 is the only one that exists right now, and hopefully we will do this again when Wave 2 comes out. Man, that slag looks absolutely incredible. So let's jump into this. I hope you guys will enjoy the video. This is my ranking of all 6 figures in the first wave of Studio Series 86. Let's get started. Coming in at the number 6 spot on this list for me is gonna have to be Deluxe Class Cup. There's a lot of issues with this figure. I don't think he's bad. I don't think any figure in this wave is bad, but he's got some issues for me that is gonna make him the number 6 spot on this list. For one, he is way too skinny. He really does not have the mass that Cup had in the 1986 movie, and he's just like, he looks like he hasn't eaten anything in weeks. He's very, very thin, very flat as well. You can see his head and the way this works is just all flat down here. It's just the silhouette is not all that great. His head sculpt is also not all that great. I feel like they could have done a better job with the head sculpt, and the transformation is not particularly fun on him. It's not like agonizing like Earthrise RC or anything, but it's not particularly fun. There's quite a bit of things in this transformation that I don't really like doing at all, specifically this part of the arms where you have to get this piece out. It's just not fun at all, and I feel like it might break at some point because it's kind of thin. It is pinned on, so it is pinned on. You can see there is a pin right there, so I hopefully it will be able to withstand it, but that part I just don't really enjoy doing at all. And I mean, just compared to the other figures in the line, this one was pretty easily the number 6 spot for me. He's not bad. His alt mode is fantastic. I almost forgot to say that. His alt mode is incredible. Near perfect. I absolutely love his alt mode. But unfortunately, I don't have space to display my Transformers in alt mode if I prefer their alt modes. So yeah, as great as his alt mode is, he is still easy, in my opinion, the easy number 6 for the ranking. So there you go. There is number 6, Studio Series 86 Cup. Coming in at number 5 is going to be Studio Series 86 Jazz. I really like this figure, and from here on out, I think pretty much the rest of these figures that we're about to rank here are all S tier, but Jazz is going to be the number 5 spot because he has some issues that are very prominent issues, and the big one, of course, is the fact a lot of people have been having QC problems with his backpack, and it's very obvious why, because his backpack is made out of clear plastic, entirely clear plastic. These are all these hinges are clear plastic, and there's even pins through most of them. So yeah, these are it's definitely not built the sturdiest, which is scary. Now, I literally, just before I recorded this video, I literally transformed him to see if he would, hold up. He held up perfectly. I still don't have any cracks in the backpack. For me, everything is absolutely perfect. So I don't know, you're just gonna have to get lucky maybe, but for me, having a really good copy that has not yet broken, that problem isn't really an issue for me. And honestly, aside from that, I can't really think of any issues with this figure at all. His transformation isn't the best. There's some segments of it that I don't particularly like, especially getting the head into its proper location and that little part underneath it. Also, the first time I got him, I could not for the life of me figure out the little silver waist piece. I had to get into the instructions because I was so confused, because I was trying to flip his arms into the Okay, so this car, so the hood comes up, the head goes down, and then his arms, you can see, are attached to the wheels, and they fold in. And I could not for the life of me figure out what the hell to do because that silver piece was in the way. And it turns out what you have to do is you have to rotate that silver piece independently of everything. So that silver piece is on its own separate swivel. So this needs to be turned around, not the whole waist, which is just, it was really confusing when I first got it. But you know, once you figure it out, it's not that bad. Really, the only real issue with this figure is just the fact that they did make his backpack entirely out of clear plastic, and it is a little scary for the longevity of the figure. Also, his knees aren't the best. I have tried to thicken them up with some super glue. It hasn't really worked, but they're not the best, so yeah, there is that as well. I did get a gap filler for mine, filled in those gaps in his legs, so there is that as well. But yeah, overall, I think he is fantastic, but of the figures left to rank, he was a pretty easy pick for number 5 for me. I think he's really good, and his alt mode is great as well, by the way. I love his alt mode as well. His weapon is nice. They gave it a nice paint job, gave it some pegs on the back, on the sides, so you can, of course, store it on the back, which I always very much like. And yeah, overall, I do think this Jazz is dynamite. I absolutely love this figure. But when it came to the other ones that we still have to rank, he was a pretty easy number 5 for me. So there you go. Number 5 is Studio Series 86 Jazz. Coming in at the number 4 spot for me is gonna have to be Studio Series 86 Hot Rod. This is the best Hot Rod ever. This Hot Rod is fantastic, and like I said previously, the rest of the figures that we have to rank are all S tier in my opinion. But he is going to be the number 4 spot because there are a few things I can point out about this figure that I don't love. The main one is transforming the top half, which makes me very excited for Rodimus because Rodimus is going to transform differently and hopefully much smoother than this one. But the problem I have with this one is rotating that piece around in the torso is kind of difficult to do because there's not a ton of clearance when you do it. I guess I can just show you here. So what I'm getting at here is this piece right here that it pops out of here. This piece comes down. What I'm getting at here is this piece right here. So let me take his guns off of the back here. There we go. And rotate that piece around if I can, Jesus. Alright, here's what I'm getting at here. There is just barely enough clearance to get this piece out of the torso, and then there is even less clearance to rotate this entire piece around. It's very finicky. Like, you just gotta get it there. You can even see the pieces there, rubbing against the blue piece right there. As you can see right there, there's just barely enough clearance right there. And if I'm being honest, it just feels like they didn't really have to do that. And it does make sense now that Rodimus Prime is coming out because Rodimus isn't going to do this. He's actually going to he's not going to faux form at all. And I don't have a problem with faux forming. I don't care about faux forming. I say do whatever you can to make the robot mode look better. And if faux forming is what you got to do, then it's what you got to do. But that it should definitely not be not fun to do. A good example of a faux former that does it really well is Earthrise Runamuck here. He does it really perfectly. I think his faux forming works very well to him. It makes him look better than it would have if they had actually used the windshield in car mode that he has in car mode. So I think he is a perfect figure that uses faux forming. He just doesn't really feel like he really needed to use the faux forming, and I don't really like how you have to transform him to make use of it. Also, there's definitely some parts about this figure that aren't really worth that Voyager class price. I am fine with paying the Voyager class price for him because I think he was worth it. I'm very happy with my purchase of him, but if we're being honest with him, the amount of accessories he comes with doesn't really make up for that full $10 increase from a deluxe class. If you were paying $20 for him, he's a freaking knockout. He might have even been higher up on the list, but because he's $30 and he really just comes with some extra plastic and not really much else to him, he does have really good engineering, but overall, he's a great figure. Like I said, he's still S tier, but for me, I think number 4 is a good spot for him because he does have some issues that hold him back from being absolutely flawless, like the top 2 figures in this ranking. But there you go. Number 4 is Studio Series 86 Hot Rod. Also, the vehicle mode is pretty fire as well. So, yes, number 4 is Studio Series 86 Hot Rod. Coming in at number 3, this might be an unpopular one, but it's Blur. Blur is so awesome. I just love this thing. I absolutely love Deluxe Class Studio Series 86 Blur. I just think he is a dynamite figure. I can't really, honestly, like, when it comes to complaints, I don't really have any. I know a lot of people don't like his face. I don't think his face is bad at all. It doesn't really bother me whatsoever. I think he looks like Blur. The only thing I can really consider a complaint is the arm kibble. This is just very large, and it's just kind of ugly. It doesn't really blend in at all, and it's a little ugly. Also, the way his arms work, the way his articulation works is just bizarre. It's really weird. Like, this feels kind of thin, and it doesn't feel like it's gonna break or anything, but it does feel kind of thin, and I mean, just look at that. It just looks weird, and it feels weird, and he also has these weird ratchets on his arms right there, and if you use both of them together, oh, it's just a bizarre freaking arm articulation. But besides that, I don't really have any complaints with him whatsoever. His transformation is pretty damn complicated, but it's very fun and very cool as well, and I really enjoy doing it. His accessories are great. He came with his gun, which I absolutely love, and you can store it just by sticking it back there in that little piece, which I really like, and it's great. It's a really nice gun. It's molded well. It can't accept blast effects, which I do wish it could, but it still looks really good. And then the other accessory he came with, the little welding tool, is also pretty cool. You know what? I'll grab it real quick. Why not? Here it is. The little welding tool, very cool, and you can give that to him right there, and I think that is also pretty cool. So overall, I just think Studio Series 86 Blur is an absolute dynamite figure. I just love him. I think his alt mode is great as well. Transformation super fun, and the robot mode is just awesome. So yes, number 3 for me is Studio Series 86 Blur. I just think he is so good, man. Alrighty, we're down to the final 2. Coming in at the number 2 spot for me is going to be Scourge. This figure is absolutely amazing. He is a perfect Scourge. He is just incredible. But when it came down to these last 2, I just enjoy the number 1 spot a little bit more. But he is fantastic. I don't want to go too far into this because a viewer has requested a video on Studio Series 86 Scourge, so a video for him will be coming out soon where I will give you a full rundown of everything he does. We'll transform him, show him the alt mode and everything, so not going to go too far into this one. All I'm going to tell you is he is just dynamite. I absolutely love this figure. He has phenomenal articulation, a absolutely incredible alt mode. His alt mode is absolutely perfect. His joints are fantastic. His quality is immaculate. Nothing feels like it's gonna break. Everything feels fantastic. The joints are just wonderful. Posability is great. I love all the posability you can do with the backpack here. You can totally get them all splayed out. His gun is very nice. He came with one of my favorite blast effects ever, that little purple one. This one right here, one of my absolute favorites. I just absolutely love this blast effect. So good. And yeah, he just came with that just for no reason. He already more than was worth the asking price. They just threw that in there to be just, yeah, guess what? We're just gonna throw this extra little awesome blast effect in there just for shits and giggles. And I don't even know what else to say about him. He's just absolutely incredible. Like, look at that head sculpt. It is just absolutely incredible. His transformation is fun. I mean, for a shell former, he might be the most fun transformation ever, honestly. He's just the bomb. I absolutely freaking love this figure, but I do enjoy messing with the number 1 just a little bit more. So number 2 is Studio Series 86 Scourge, and number 1 is, obviously, if you use the process of elimination here, you know what number 1 is. Grimlock. Oh my god. This is one of my favorite Transformer figures of all time. Grimlock is just perfection. He is Kingdom Cyclonus level perfection. He is so incredible. Everything about this figure is pretty much perfect. His look nails it. The only thing that he does that doesn't nail it is just this little kind of cloudy piece of plastic on his torso here. That should have been more clear. I do think so. But if you really hate it that much, you can take it off just by undoing a couple screws on the back. But I personally prefer the way it looks with it on. His head sculpt is just dynamite. Look at that head sculpt. Absolutely outstanding. So good. His posability, fantastic. He's got ratchet joints in the legs here. Quality is Oh my goodness gracious. He might be the nicest feeling Transformer figure in my entire collection, honestly. He feels so good. I remember when I got him out of the packaging and I held him for the first time and I started moving him around, I was starstruck by how good he felt to hold, how solid he was and how big and chunky he was and how good his quality feels and how good his plastic feels. Just fantastic. He really feels like he could survive an earthquake, man. So amazing. And the transformation is incredibly fun. I absolutely love doing the transformation. The dino mode is incredible. Hopefully one day somebody will request a video on him, because I would love to make one on him, because like I said, he is one of my absolute favorite figures in my collection. He is just so good. And of course, on the back here, he does have his gun, which I absolutely love, and you can give him that. The wheelie he came with is pretty chintzy and pretty crappy. Have it right here. It's not great, but if you don't like it, you can just throw it in the trash and pretend like it never existed at all, because you still get $50 more worth of money with this amazing Grimlock. He is just incredible. I have zero complaints with this figure. I absolutely love this guy. When it came, I've always wanted a Grimlock in my collection, a G1 Grimlock. I don't think I've ever had one, and for this to be my very first G1 Grimlock, oh my goodness gracious. This figure is precisely, this is like my go-to figure to show people that we are living in the golden age of Transformers, because this thing is just incredible. He is so good. Honestly, the only complaint, I just thought of one complaint I could give him. The only complaint I have with him that I consider a genuine complaint is that his dino mode doesn't have the front teeth. I know you've probably heard that a million times, but it really is kind of unfortunate. I am hoping to get an upgrade kit for him at some point that will get rid of that problem entirely, and then he can be absolutely perfect. But as it is, he is still S tier in my opinion. He is still S plus, honestly. He is still one of my favorite figures in my entire collection, and I just love him. So there you go. Number one is Grimlock. Alrighty, thank you all so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your ranking for Wave 1 of Studio Series 86 in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comment section down below, and subscribe for more if you would like to watch me talk about more robots that turn into things. Also, if you'd like to see a full-on video of any figure in my collection that I do not already have a video on the channel, let me know in a comment down below, and I can almost guarantee you that I will make it happen. Alright, thank you all so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. This is DK Guillotine, signing out.